Hi guys, this is Mrs. Herrera with 5.2.7 Algebra 2 review for April 29th. So we're given 4 graphs, and what we need to do is we need to come up with the equation for those polynomials. And so let's review some of what we know. This particular function has arms going in opposite directions, and therefore that must be an odd degree function. Since it ends up positive, that means that it is a positive polynomial. So what do we know? It's an odd degree. The end behavior is going to be in opposite directions. Okay. And what else do I notice? We have we have 3 x-intercepts. One occurs at -3, at -1, at +1. So remember that the factors and the x-intercepts are the opposite. So if I have -3 as an x-intercept, that's going to relate to x plus 3 as a factor. If I have -1 as an x-intercept, the opposite would be x plus 1 as a factor. If I have a +1 intercept, that's x minus 1. And so this one's pretty straightforward. F of x is equal to x plus 3, x plus 1, x minus 1. Order does not matter, remember, with multiplication, so let's leave it at that. Then we're going to go to number 15. Number 15 also is an odd function. I know that because the end behaviors are opposites. If they both go in the same direction, both up or both down, then that would be an even. So it's an odd degree. The end behavior is negative because it ends up negative. See the difference between the two. This is a positive function because it ends up positive. This is a negative function because it ends up on the negative infinity. The factors are always the opposite of the roots, so notice that this one's a little bit different than this one. This one crossed in 3 locations. This one has a tangent at -2. What does that mean as far as factors? It means that this factor is squared. So what is the opposite of -2? +2. And remember, it has to be squared because it's tangent. This one, the opposite of +3, is -3. And we said it had to be a negative function because it ends up the end behavior going to negative infinity. And so we have f of x is negative x plus 2 squared times x minus 3. And again, you could go ahead and check those on Desmos. Okay, here we go. This is 16 and 17. Now this one has an even degree because they're both ending up, both end behaviors are pointing in the same direction to positive infinity. The factors are always the opposite of the roots, and so I have here 1, 2, 3, and so we have the opposite of -3 would be x positive 3, and when we have a 0 factor, it's always just going to be x, and so I have that right here. And then it also crosses at x is +2, which translates to x minus 2 as a factor. And this is would be a +4, which translates to x minus 4 as a factor. And so my final answer is f of x is x times the quantity x plus 3 times the quantity x minus 2 times the quantity x minus 4. And again, how did I know that was positive and not negative? Both of my end behaviors are pointing towards positive infinity. All right, and here is my last one. This is number 18. And so what do I have here? We have both end behaviors pointing in the same direction, which indicates a positive, an even degree. So the degree is even. Both end behaviors are pointing down, so that's going to be a negative function. So the factors are always the opposite of my root. So what do I see? I have it crossing at x is -2. Again, it's tangent, not crossing, I apologize, tangent touching down at -2. So that gives me x plus 2. And since it's a tangent, we square it. We know it's a negative function because both end behaviors point down. And then what else do I have? I have it tangent at x plus, where x is +3. And so that transfers into x minus 3 squared. Final answer, f of x is equal to negative x plus 2 quantity squared times x minus 3 quantity squared. And again, guys, this is just a rough sketch. You could check it if you wanted on Desmos. I did have it set up before. Let me see if I still have it up here, and if we do, we'll take a peek. And if not, okay, we do. All right, so real quick, let's just double check. So here's my first given graph, and matches pretty well with what we said. then we cross that one out and we go to the second graph. Again, you're checking on Desmos just to make sure that what we said we believed were the functions written out match pretty well with the picture that's given. All right, this one, again, it looks like it drops really far, but it still has that signature shape of a sort of like a W. And then we just have one last one. Let me cross off the preceding two. And the very last one was that negative even function, even degree function, I want to say. See how it's a W and faces down, touches tangent in both places at 2 and +3. All right, guys, it was a relatively easy day. Have a good one. Again, message me any questions or problems. Keep up the good work. Have a great night.